The product abandon or browse abandonment flow is one of the most important pre-purchase flows for your e-commerce brand. That's why it is extremely important to make sure that it is optimized and generates as much revenue as it can, right? So with that being said, in today's video, I'm gonna create and go over how to create a killer product abandonment flow. So first things first, it is kind of important to understand where the browse abandonment or product abandonment or whatever you wanna call it is placed in the entire funnel. Typically on a sales funnel, we've got like 4 main stages: the awareness stage, interest, decision stage, and action stage. Typically the browse abandonment flow is here in the interest stage, because at this point they already visited a product page. They are 100% interested on a specific product. So it is your mission here to make sure you convince them to go and just purchase that specific product. So let me go over kind of where at what point this specific flow gets triggered, and so that way you understand exactly, like, again, where in the stage of the funnel the product abandonment flow is. Okay, so let's say this is your Shopify store. I just picked a random store here. If I go to a specific product page like this one right here, the Hawaii candle, and then I proceed to close the website and just leave, at that point I get the product abandonment flow, because I was actually interested in that specific product. So it makes sense to receive a specific flow about that specific product, right? And so that out of the way, let me go over kind of the mistakes to avoid that I see many brands make when it comes to this flow right here, because I audit multiple Klaviyo accounts every week and I just see the same mistakes all over again. Now, first things first, and I would say specifically for this flow right here, is having the add your product tracking to my side off. So what is this? When you integrate your Klaviyo account with Shopify, so if you go here to your brand's name, you go to integrations, you go to Shopify here, right? And then you scroll down, this should be toggled. Really important. And this right here, you should see this message, and this should be toggled. If you don't know how, then you need to enable the Klaviyo app in your Shopify store. So if I click here, this is gonna take me to my Shopify store, and then at that point I can just enable the Klaviyo app embed for that specific brand. And then you should toggle this right here. You must toggle this, otherwise the actual flow is not going to work. And how do you make sure the viewed product metric is working? You go here, analytics, metrics, the viewed product, and then this should be firing up. As you can see, this is firing up just fine. If you don't see anything here, if this is 0, for example, if you don't see a graph, then this is not working, and your flow is not going to work because the trigger doesn't work, because the viewed product metric is the trigger for the flow itself. So that's the main mistake to avoid. Second one is having smart sending on. So smart sending, let me create a quick like random browse abandonment flow here. Okay, so this should be right here. Browse abandonment. Okay, delete, whatever. As you can see, the trigger here is viewed product. So let's let it load, and then I can show you exactly what I mean. Because when you create a flow, most of the emails, I think like all of the emails inside a default flow created by Klaviyo will have the we will have this on, which is the smart send. See, if I scroll down, as you can see here, it says skip recently emailed profiles. And so you must basically turn this off for all the emails inside every single flow you have. Not only the browse abandonment flow or product abandonment, but all the flows, right? You save it, and then you basically that way avoid using smart sending, which essentially smart sending will skip anyone who received an email within the last 16 hours. And this is something you don't want to have, okay, in your flow. Otherwise you'll be missing on a bunch of recipients and a bunch of revenue for that matter. So that's the second mistake. Third mistake is, especially if you have an offer in one of your emails inside your flow, is not having any urgency at the end, for example. Urgency is really powerful. And so you should let people know that the offer you're offering them is going to expire. Another thing which is kind of important is not covering multiple unique selling points of your brand or the specific product they're viewing. This is a product abandonment flow. If you're not covering what makes the product different and great, then what's the point of having it in the first place, right? Of course, the first email, and this is something I'm going to cover later, should serve as a reminder. But after that, you should go over the unique selling points of your product. Finally, this is a very big one, is not tagging people in the flow to exclude them from campaigns. So when you go through a specific flow, it is really important that you let the person go through the entire flow before sending them weekly campaigns, right? Because they showed interest and they are further down the funnel. They're at the middle of the funnel at this point. So you don't want to send them like weekly campaigns or broadcast campaigns that are very mostly top of the funnel. So what do I mean by that? So you should like 100%, it's not something I can definitely cover later, but you must like exclude them from campaigns. So do I do that? When they go through the flow, you must create a profile property update here. And then you can create a new one, create a new property in a flow, for example, right? Grab in a flow, true, Boolean true, right? Save, and then at the end, once they have gone through the entire flow, I'm just gonna have one path. That way it just makes it easier for this video. You basically update the profile property, right? Update it with the same property. Of course, I think it's not going to pop up here because no one has that specific property, but you get the point. You must select the same property and then set this as false. That way you can keep sending them emails, because what you do is you create a segment with people with this property and then you exclude that segment from your campaigns, right? Simple as that. Again, do this for every single flow. For other flows I've covered in this channel, I've gone through the entire process. So please do the same thing, which is very important. So again, one of the main mistakes is not tagging people in the flow to exclude them from your weekly campaigns, okay? So that out of the way, which is really important, I'm gonna cover now the content buckets for every email inside this specific flow right here. So this is gonna be pretty short and concise video, because the browse abandonment or product abandonment flow is kind of concise and pretty straightforward, right? It's not like the abandoned checkout or the welcome series or your post-purchase sequence, where it becomes way more important to be more like granular when it comes to the content itself, right? For the browse abandonment flow, it's pretty simple and straightforward. So the first email is just a reminder of the items they viewed, right? So don't overcomplicate this email. It should be pretty straightforward and serve again as a simple reminder. No more than that. So for example, for the actual product I visited, essentially having a dynamic block inside your email, inside your flow, that actually shows that I just viewed this product right here. Pretty straightforward, very simple. Again, most people leave the ways. I mean, life gets in the way, many reasons. So you just want to have a reminder in there as well. So you can send this one 2 hours later after the trigger, which is again view product, right? Second email, which could be sent like 1 day or 2 days later, is you can add some context and cover the unique selling points of your brand as a whole, and not the products specifically. I mean, you could, of course, as well. This is not set in stone, so feel free to just, it depends on your brand, to be honest with you. So yeah, so utilize social proof, testimonials, reviews, press as well. So lots of social proof if you can. And then you can also offer an incentive. So it could be like 10, 15, 20% off or whatever you can afford, whatever makes sense for your brand specifically. And then email number 3 could be sent like one day or 2 days or 3 days later, which is essentially introduced if you didn't in the previous email to the offer, or add urgency to offer. And that's why I mentioned previously that having urgency is very important. But as you can see here for the browse abandonment flow, we keep it very simple, short and concise, because again, this is middle of the funnel. This is not quite at the bottom of the funnel. So even though you want to exclude people from your campaigns, which are mostly top of the funnel, you want to make sure they go through the entire flow fairly quickly so you can resume your campaigns in case they didn't purchase. Okay, now we've got some examples here. So pretty straightforward. Our supplement, this is of course a supplements brand. Our supplements look pretty sick, huh? Blah, blah, blah. We said you're looking at this. Great choice. We save your spot so you can jump back in. And then this is a dynamic block, of course, but nothing is showing up because this is just a preview. Here we've got very straightforward as well. Take 10% off right off the bat. Just a pure underwear. And then here we've got dynamic block. Very straightforward. And then here, a skincare brand. So again, right off the bat. Oh, I think this is the second email of the flow, sorry. And then for this specific example, this is the third email or second email as well. So use code get yours for 15% off your order. So an incentive, need some help, etc. As you can see, they're using social proof here, which is great. And then here in this section, we actually have the product they viewed, dynamic block, right? So yeah, that's pretty much for this email. If you're running an e-commerce brand doing over 100K per month right now and you want a reliable email marketing team to handle your retention marketing at your brand, then feel free to reach out to me and use my calendar link below in the description box below. Feel free to book a time that works for you. We can have a non-strings attached conversation. I can share with you actionable strategies and steps you can take with your team in case you don't want to work with us, and just steal those strategies and just implement them on your own and just scale your email revenue that way. Either way, you'll be living out with value, so no strings attached whatsoever. And if it makes financial sense for you, then we'll be more than happy to help you scale your email revenue. So yeah, with that being said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.